पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोकतिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम। You are all welcome for continuity of our Bhakti Vaibhav study of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in the subject called Bhakti process, or it is called Abhidhe and Prayojan. So this is from verse number 12 to 22. So we are actually in the process of Abhidheya, means how to practice bhakti, and we are starting verse number 17. Shrunvatam sukatha Krishna punya sharvana kirtana hridayantastoya bhadrani vidhanoti suhrta satam. This verse is speaking about anartha nivarti, clearing the offenses in the process of devotional service. How Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna, we have to hear the message spoken by Krishna, which means Bhagavad Gita. Spoken about Krishna, that means Bhagavatam. And what is the benefit of this hearing? Punya, Shravana Kirtan. This Srila Prabhupada writes, Punya means virtues. Actually, auspiciousness. This hearing and chanting is very auspicious and virtuous. What is the benefit? Hridayanta sthani abhadrani. Whatever the misgivings are within the heart, whatever the abhadra, which means offenses, are within the heart. Dhunoti. It's not dhinoti, it's a vidhanoti. Dhinoti means actually clean or washed. Vidhanoti means especially clean, not to appear again. Vi means vishesh. Specially clean. It's not cleaned by person who chants, but it's cleaned by Supreme Lord Himself. This cleaning process is by Krishna Himself as a super soul, who is within the heart. Now, any verse from Bhagavad Gita is coming in your mind when you read this. From within the heart, Krishna clean the ignorance.
Yeah, 10.8.
10.11, yes. And there is this is the verse in the purport. Aham aha. Tesham evanukampartham aham agyanatama nasyatmyat bhavisto gyana. And this verse is quoted in the purport. So from this verse you can see how Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita to support and this is. Sohirda Satam, Sohirda means well-wisher, and Satam means devotees. Generally, satam means, if you want really to know the meaning of satam, then this word in the second verse of Mangalacharan. Dharma projit kaitavo nirmatsarana. Is there word satam? And see the meaning of satam there. The power is 100% pure. See there. See the meaning in second verse. 100% pure. Free from enviousness. And usually the envy is the last thing to clear. Huh? Satam means don't know. Huh? Nirvatsarana?
Nirvatsarana means of the 100% pure in the heart.
That is the one, that devotee who is 100% pure in the heart.
Yes.
That is actually satam. It means, actually what it means is Uttam Adhikari. So he will come to the stage of Uttam Adhikari. Because Uttam Adhikari never finds fault in others. He is nirmatsar. Ninda, Adi, Sunya, and an actor of instruction. He is free from criticizing anybody. So not everybody, actually those who are sincere. So Srila Prabhupada's translation, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Hridayanta, in everyone's heart, the benefactor of the truthful devotees. Okay. Right? From the heart. Which devotee who has developed an urge to hear his message? Shurnvata. Which are in themselves rituals, punya, when properly heard and chanted, charvanam kirtanam. Chakravartipad writes directly, Krishna, who purify by the process of hearing and chanting. So how Krishna purify heart of somebody? By a process of, then which verse you will quote? Cheto darpan marjanam param vijayate Sri Krishna sankirtanam, right? So Krishna, who purify the process of hearing and chanting, who is the benefactor of the devotees who hear them, who hear about him, enter the heart of a devotee and destroy their sins. Prabhupada writes desire, Chakravarti writes sins, abhadra. Because sins are the result of desire. Because of desire we commit sin. And opposite to sin is punya. Sin is called pap. Sin is called pap. And pious thing is called punya. And this is a punya, in the verse is a punya. Srila Prabhupada in purport writes, first Srila Prabhupada is speaking about no difference between Krishna and his message. There's no difference between Krishna and his message. Then he says there's no difference between Krishna and his name. Then Srila Prabhupada writes, Krishna has invested all his energy in his name and message. Then he quotes, then paraphrase that verse, second verse of Shikshashtakam. Nam akari bahuda. That verse is paraphrased in the purport. Right? Prabhupada writes Shikshashtakam. But the one word is most important in the purport. Go to the third line. Offenseless hearing. You have heard offenseless chanting earlier, right? But now offenseless hearing is a new word in the vocabulary. Can you see this?
Yes.
So offenseless hearing will bring this result. What Krishna is present in the form of a sound. Offenseless chanting also is offenseless hearing. Because when we are chanting, we are hearing attentively, offenselessly. So exactly it's the same thing. Offenselessly hearing and offenselessly chanting. Both are important, right? Now the rest of the purport you see, The name, Shastra says, name is all the potencies. So there is no difference between the message of the Krishna and Krishna. There is no different name of the Krishna and Krishna. Now Prabhupada says, because we have no taste for that. This is the second verse says, no taste for that. Unfortunately, Durdaiva Midrasham Nehani Anurag. So that is there. And how the taste develop? We have already discussed how the taste develop for hearing Krishna Katha. By service to the pure devotees. That's what, by service to the devotees. That is in the next line, right? Lord reciprocally respond to his devotee when he sees that devotee is completely sincere and getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about him. The Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back home. Got it? Now this line is very important. Lord is more anxious to take us back to his kingdom than we can desire. And then Prabhupada writes something which is personal application. See, most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead, is right?
Yes.
Are we really desiring to go back to Godhead? Is this our object? No. Most Prabhupada is most of us, Prabhupada is writing, are not desiring to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead, but anyone who desires to go, God, Krishna, help him all respect. One cannot enter into the kingdom unless one is perfectly cleansed of all sins. If we have material desire, we cannot enter into the kingdom of God. The material sins are product of our desires, we know, right? From where we know this? Nectar of devotion. Klesha Ghani. You know Klesha Ghani? Ignorance, material desire, sin, suffering. This is called parampara. You don't have a chalk here to write the parampara of sin, parampara of klesha. Avidya or ignorance on the top. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of our identity, swarup, that give rise to the material desires. Material desires give rise to the sinful activities that result into the suffering. That's called klesha. Is it clear? So this is what Prabhupada is writing. Material sins are products of our desires. To lord it over the material nature, it is very difficult to get rid of such desires. And what are actually desires? And now Prabhupada is saying, what are the desires? Desire is wealth and woman. Very difficult problem for devotees making progress on the path back to Godhead. So why we don't want desire? Why we don't want to go back to Godhead? Because we want these two things. Why we want wealth? Aishwarya. Why we want woman? Bhog. Then you read the verse from Bhagavad Gita, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya hirtapet chetasam vinasatmika buddhi samadhavana vidyate. Right? So this is, what is the woman and wealth means? Bhog and Aishwarya, right? You can write it simply as a Bhog and Aishwarya. See, wealth is Aishwarya, woman is Bhog. And whoever desires this, he can never go back to Godhead, right? And then Prabhupada said many stalwart fell down because of these two. But when Krishna helps somebody, then they can be successful by his divine grace. Now Srila Prabhupada writes the last paragraph. Prabhupada says it's natural because from many lifetime we are addicted to wealth and woman, Aishwarya and Bhog. Therefore, to get rid of this foreign nature is not easy. But when gradually we hear Krishna Katha from a pure devotees, then we will realize our real position. By grace of God, such devotees get sufficient strength to defend himself from a state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind, which means a bhadrani with noti. Chakravarti Pad writes, then from hearing with taste, which means actually hearing with taste, katha ruchi, by serving Mahatma, which means sadhu sangha. One begins to hear and chant, it means bhajan kiya. Then Krishna being situated within destroy the sin of bhadrani, which means unearth nivritti. Can you see in this purport all these three things? From hearing with the taste, which means by association of devotees, by serving them, having Krishna Katha, ruchi in Krishna Katha. One begins here and chanting, this is bhajan kriya. And then Krishna being situated unearth nivritti. Three stages, okay? Now, Sri Jiva Goswami immediately says unearth nivritti. So says, the Lord entering by topics, it means Krishna Katha, and remaining in the thought, antastha, destroy desires of bhadrani. Prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. So this is the stage of nishtha after unearth nivritti. Very simple. Nishtha stage. And therefore, generally in preaching, I say, it takes very long time to overcome unearth nivritti stage. It takes very long time to overcome the unearth nivritti, which means destroying the obstacle in the path of bhakti. But the only easiest process is regularly hearing. Most easiest process to overcome the obstacle in bhakti is regularly hearing. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam. This is not the meaning of the verse, but Prabhupada is giving practical hint. We have Bhagavatam class in our temples, and who regularly attend, advising, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, which means serving the pure devotee means hearing from pure devotee. All the troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, unearth nivritti. And loving service of the personality of God, and who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact, which means nishtha. As the impediment to the bhakti becomes generally destroyed by constant service to the devotees and Bhagavatam, which means hearing from pure devotee. The stage of nishtha bhakti to Bhagavan, who is praised by the great sages, become established. So, sir, this verse speaks about nishtha. So, Srila Prabhupada's purport begins with, here is the remedy of eliminating all inauspicious things within the heart, which are considered to be obstacles in the path of self-realization, which means unearth. The remedy is the association of Bhagavatas, which means great devotees. There are two types of Bhagavata, book Bhagavat and devotee Bhagavat. Who is the devotee Bhagavat? Both the Bhagavata are competent remedies, and both of them or either of them can be good enough to eliminate the obstacle. The devotee Bhagavat is as good as the book Bhagavat because the devotee Bhagavat leads his life in terms of book Bhagavat. And book Bhagavat is full of information about the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees, who are also Bhagavatas. Bhagavata, book and persons are identical. So what is different between the Bhagavata as a book and Bhagavat as a person? Give some brainstorm. Bhagavat person can correct our mistake immediately, okay? Your will, but you cannot stop push Bhagavat from his speaking. Right? Push Bhagavat may distribute prasad, book Bhagavat cannot. Prabhupada is a push Bhagavat by speaking about Bhagavat and distributing prasad, he made the devotees. So book Bhagavat is more powerful in that sense. Right? He will distribute prasad also. Pushing prasad. Book Bhagavat cannot distribute prasad. But Bhagavatam is worshipable as deity. Bhagavatam is Krishna, is worshipable as a deity. Person Bhagavat. So therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, hear Bhagavat from Bhagavat Purusha. It means from a self-realized person. Now Srila Prabhupada writes, the devotee Bhagavat is a direct representative of Bhagavan, which means actually spiritual master. So by pleasing the devotee Bhagavat, one can receive the benefit of book Bhagavat. It means Bhagavat is like Krishna. By serving Guru, we can get mercy of the Krishna. Yasya prasada Bhagavat prasada. Human reason failed to understand how by serving the devotee Bhagavat or the book Bhagavat one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. Example given by Prabhupada. Human reason cannot comprehend this. Example of a 5-year-old Narad here serving the Bhagavat, hearing from them Bhagavat, and he immediately becomes self-realized. That's the whole example of which we will discuss in the chapter 4 and 5. Okay? So Prabhupada gives the example of Narad. Shila. These are the miraculous effect of the devotee and personality of Srila Narad Dev. These are the miraculous effect of the assertion of Bhagavata. And to understand these effects practically, it should be noted that by such sincere assertion of the Bhagavata, one is sure to receive transcendental knowledge very easily, with the result that he becomes fixed in devotional service, Nishta. The more progress is made in devotional service under the guidance of Bhagavata, which means the spiritual master, the more one becomes fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The message of the book Bhagavat therefore have to be received from the devotee Bhagavat. And the combination of these two Bhagavata will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on. Now Chakravarti Pad writes, Bhagavat Sevaya means service to the devotee of Bhagavan. And service to such as hearing. What service? Hearing. The Bhagavatam. How can we serve the devotee? By hearing from him Bhagavatam. It's always remember, devotee association, services to the devotee means hearing Krishna Katha from devotee. This is the service. Not physical service. No. Hearing from them is real service. By serving the devotee and Bhagavatam, the major portion of Nam Aprad, unearth. Nam Aprad, chanting holy name. Nam Aprad, Abhadreshu, become weak. They become weak. This weakening of Aprad continue till the stage of Rati, means Bhav. So, at the stage of Nishta, still there are 10% Aprad. Then they can continue till Ruchi, then to the Asakti and to the Bhav. Even up to the stage of Bhav, there can be Vaishnava Aprad.
So that
But once one reaches to the prem, it's free from all aparadha. So at this stage of bhav, there is possibility of small bit of offense left. Usually it is Vaishnava aparadha. Usually it is Vaishnava aparadha, not other one. So Chakravarti writes, the weakening of the aparadha continue to this stage of rati. Nishtha refer to nishtha, where the mind can easily concentrate on Lord. When the anartha are for the most part destroyed, the devotee turns the stage of nishtha. So this verse is nishtha. Now, our Srila Jiva Goswami writes, even though impurities are not completely destroyed, nast prayeshu, pray means almost, it means something is left. Bhakti can be performed steadily, which means nishtha. In the process of gyaan, however, comparison with the knowledge, steady performance requires complete destruction of impurities. In gyaan, you have to be completely pure. Otherwise, you cannot practice gyaan. But in bhakti, even if you have some, still there are some obstacles or unearth, you can practice bhakti. There is a difference between the process of gyaan and bhakti.
What are the impurities of gyaan? Just like there are impurities of bhakti, we can understand like aparadha, okay, anartha, but in the gyaan, what are the impurities?
Usually there are the five parva of adhyan, avidya. Five avidya, which created by Brahma. What are these? Rag, dvesh, abhinivesh, avidya, and fifth one is rag, dvesh, avidya, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh, and one more. And they have different names in Patanjali Yoga, they are same. They will come in third canto. Creation. Brahma created avidya, and he also created vidya as four Kumaras. Four Kumaras is knowledge. They give knowledge to destroy the avidya. So it says the material creation is of two types. One is real creation like this material world. The other one is avidya or ignorance creation, which is illusion. There is also material creation of avidya by Brahma. This will come in third canto. So for jnanis, these are the five obstacles of ignorance. If they are not completely, I told you this story sometime, no? Old lady giving every day some alms to a saintly person and begging him to give me some knowledge. So the man said, well, sometime I will give you knowledge. She insisted one day. Oh, Maharaj said, tomorrow I will give you knowledge. So she was happy, she took bath, she cooked nice sweet rice and wonderful prasad. And when Maharaj came, she offered him all the prasad and then said, now please you instruct me. No, she brought the sweet rice. He said, Maharaj, first you take this in your pot, honor this and then give me knowledge. On the way, Maharaj in his pot put some cow dung, some stone, some dirt in the pot. When Mataji says, bring your pot, he brought the pot with all dirty things in this. Say, put your sweet rice. Say, how can I put my sweet rice in this pot which has all the dirty things? Maharaj said, how can I give you knowledge in your dirty brain? First, as you are not able to put the sweet rice in my bowl because it has some sand, how can I give you the transcendent knowledge when there is so much liking and disliking, rag and dvesh and ignorance? How can I give? It means in knowledge you need to completely be pure, then you get knowledge. But in bhakti, no problem. You can still have some obstacle, but you can practice bhakti. This is what it is said here. This shows the unimpeded nature of the bhakti. Bhakti is apratihata. That is the pure bhakti is apratihata. Bhakti in the form of meditation become constant, naistiki, by service to the devotee or to the Bhagavatam. Yes, what is your question, Prabhu?
My question is, it means one can understand this thing. Of course, it is not true, but still, it means those who are realized personalities in gyana, or so-called established personality in gyana, and somebody is at the stage of nishtha in bhakti. Obviously, nishtha person is
Nishtha person is higher than the
higher than
the
that.
jnani.
Then how we can, some other way can answer, here it is written with some impurities, nishtha and jnanis are 100% pure, then how to understand this?
Oh, very simple. In the nectar of instruction, you have a hierarchy of devotees.
Yes.
Higher than karmi is a jnani, higher than karmi is a devotee. Even he is a practicing devotee is higher than a perfect jnani, and higher than a devotee is a Raganuga devotee, something like that. Hierarchy is there. Verse number 19. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kama lobhajascha ye chetai tayana viddham Stitam sattve prasidati. So at that stage means when there is a nishtha, when one comes to the nishtha, the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance disappear. So what is the influence of the mode of passion? Calm, desires, and lobha, greed. Adhya means other things, which are of ignorance, laziness, sleep. They disappear. Okay? What it means? It means they are not going to disturb you anymore. It means you will develop taste. So this will come to the stage of ruchi after nishtha. You understand? Because disturbing, agitating elements to the mind, the greed and desires are lust, which are from the two lower modes, ignorance and passion, disappear. So now you have more taste because you have nothing to disturb. So ruchi. Anavidam. Sthitam sattva means now you are situated in goodness. More goodness, it means you will come to the stage of asakti. Then you will have attraction for the Supreme Lord. Prasidati. So in this verse there are two stages. The ruchi and asakti. Prabhupada's translation. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, which means nishtha, the effect of nature's mode of passion and ignorance such as lust, desire and hankering disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy, which means ruchi. Chakravarti Pad writes, the mind becomes unaffected by lust, greed and anger, which means passion, hatred and illusion, which means ignorance, which arise from rajas and tama. Then the mind becomes fixed in the form of the Lord at the stage of asakti and becomes satisfied. So first is ruchi and second is asakti. Srila Prabhupada's purport. These are the stages. Adho, Shraddha, Atha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan, Kiya. You know the process of devotional service. So these verses are speaking about the abhidheya or process of devotional service. From Adho, Shraddha till Prem or love of God. So all these 9 stages, they are in these verses. Therefore this section is called abhidheya and prayojan. And this is called also Bhagavad Dharma or bhakti process. A living being in his normal constitutional position is fully satisfied in spiritual bliss. State of existence is called Brahma, Bhuta. So naturally the soul is Brahma Bhuta. And this Brahma Bhuta is in Bhagavad Gita, but Srila Prabhupada is quoting 4:30:20. What is that verse 4:30:20? 4:30:20. Thirty, 20. 4:30:20. नव्यवदृढया यज्ञो ब्रह्मैतद् ब्रह्मवादिभिः न मोहयन्ति न शोचन्ति न हृष्यन्ति यतो गताः. Very similar Bhagavad Gita. Brahmbhuta prasanatmana sochati. Same thing. Always engaging in the activities of devotional service, devotees feel ever increasingly fresh and new in all their activities. The all-knower, the super soul within the heart of the devotee makes everything increasingly fresh. This is known as Brahma position by the advocate of the absolute truth. In such a liberated stage, Brahma Bhuta, this is a Brahma Bhuta, okay? And then you can read the purport in this of this verse if you like. Prabhupada writes, is Brahma Bhuta, the another word for Brahma Bhuta is Atma Ananda. The self-satisfaction is not like satisfaction of inactive fool. Now Prabhupada is comparing the Brahma Bhuta because they are also like madmen. Usually the great devotees, they are like this, like Gaur Kishodas Baba is sitting next to the public toilet and chanting. And people think they are, like a madman. So Prabhupada is saying, they are not inactive fool. The inactive fool is the state of foolish ignorance, whereas the self-satisfied Atma Anandi is transcendental to material state of existence. This stage of perfection is attained as soon as one is fixed in irrevocable devotional service. Devotional service is not inactivity, but is the unallied activity of the soul. The soul's activity becomes adulterated in contact with matter, and as such, the disease activities are expressed in the form of lust, desire, hankering, inactivity, foolishness, and sleep. So these are the action of passion and ignorance. The effect of devotional service becomes manifest by complete elimination of these effects of passion and ignorance. The devotee is fixed at once in the mode of goodness, and he makes further progress to rise to the position of Vasudev, which means pure goodness, or the state of unmixed sattva, or Shuddha sattva. Only in this Shuddha sattva state, one can always see Krishna eye to eye by dint of pure affection for the Lord. So Vasudev is a stage of pure goodness where devotee within his heart can realize Krishna, and he can know Krishna and see Krishna face to face. A devotee is always in most of unallied goodness. A devotee is always in the mode of unallied goodness, means Shuddha Sattva. Therefore, he harms no one as compared. The other people may be highly educated, but they are always harmful to others. So devotee is non-envious. And then Prabhupada says, because devotees are all good qualities of God. Good qualities of God, not quantity, but qualitative, they were same. So what is your question?
In the nine stages of bhakti,
Yes.
at what point Brahma Bhuta comes?
Brahma Bhuta stage, a 9 process of bhakti. What stage Brahma Bhuta stage will come? When one is free from influence, three modes of material nature, which is this stage. Raja is Tamar, gone. It means asakti. It means asakti. After that, the natural devotion, which is the nature of the soul, will manifest. It means asakti.
Not really ruchi. Not ruchi, asakti.
It appears asakti according to this verse.
Okay, because this first one was.
Chakravarti Pad writes, the mind is not transformed, anaviddham. The agitation of is not transformed by the agitation of lust, greed and other qualities such as anger, illusion and hatred, which arise from the bhava, rajas and tama. This means that the lack of taste for material objects, this state of ruchi. This state of ruchi. Now, the appearance of relishing, hearing and chanting and other processes now arises. In the previous state, the mind was pierced by the sharp arrow of lust and greed, etc. How could the mind be satisfied in that state? How could the mind attain real taste for chanting in that state? A person afflicted with pain cannot relish food. After this, the mind becomes fixed, sthitam, in the Shuddha Sattva, the deity of the Lord, Sattva. This is the stage of asakti. Shuddha Sattva is, as I say, Sattva sthiti, sthitam Sattva means stage of asakti, which means Brahmbhuta or Atma Anand. Is it okay?
Shuddha sattva can start actually from a shakti.
Huh?
Vasudev state.
That stage is called Vishuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva is called Vasudeva. And our Jiva Goswami writes, he who remembers is not lured by dominion over the three worlds, and who does not move for half a second from the Lord's lotus feet, which are sought by the Devatas, who also meditate on the Lord, is the best of the devotees. This is from Bhagavatam. By destruction of all desires, one's heart becomes merged in Shuddha Sattva, and thus situated for direct perception, sakshatkar of the Lord. The mind uncontaminated of rajas and tamas by calm and low becomes situated in Shuddha Sattva and is satisfied. So this is two stages in this verse, okay? The verse number 20.
So, sorry, just,
Yes.
so we have the Brahma-bhuta stage or the Atmanati stage, and then we have the Sweer Sattva stage, or the Visuddha.
That's same thing.
They're all same,
Same level.
just,
Same level. Then comes the, now we have to come to bhav and prem. Atmaram, they are in Shuddha Sattva. Atmaram, they are at the stage of Shuddha Sattva. Verse number 20. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Evam prasanna manaso is a stage of bhav. Evam prasanna manaso means the bhav bhakti is awakened. And Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata means Prem Bhakti. Then it matures in Prem Bhakti. And then what is his position? Atma Tattva Vijnanam. Then he will know the sense of the Atma Tattva. Mukt Sangas Jayate means completely free from, it's a Vairagya, stage of Vairagya which comes from Bhakti Bhakti. Bhakti give rise to the Gyaan and Vairagya. So, the Gyaan is of Bhagavad Tattva and Vairagya. Can you see this? The pure Bhakti give rise to Gyaan and Vairagya. Can you see this now? Bhav Bhakti leads to Prema Bhakti, and which give rise to Gyaan and Vairagya.
So where is Vairagya?
Vairagya is so Mukta Sangha Jayate. If you translate it like it is very clear, right? When Prema Bhakti comes, then the Gyaan and Vairagya automatically manifest.
Before that, there is no Gyaan
Huh?
and Vairagya. Before that, there is not complete Gyaan and Vairagya.
Now it has, the Bhakti has, when Bhakti, Prema Bhakti give rise to the two byproducts. Okay. Srila Prabhupada's translation. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, Suddha Sattva. The man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord, Bhav Bhakti, gain positive scientific knowledge of personality of Godhead, gyaan, the stage of liberation from material association, vairagya. Chakravarti Prabhupada said, then mind becomes joyful and satisfied on the attaining rati, bhav. Finally, prem developed accompanied by appearance of the complete detachment. The devotee then experiences the Lord's form, qualities, pastime, power, and sweetness, which means gyaan, sambandha gyaan. In the Bhagavad Gita 3:7-3, it's very difficult. Which verse is this? Manusyanam sahasreju kasya jatnapi siddhanam kasyan mam veti tatvat, right? So this verse you know. Now Prabhupada says, mostly men are conducted by mode of passion and ignorance. And thus they are engaged always in lust, desire, hankering, ignorance, and sleep. Out of many such men like animals, there's actually man who knows the responsibility of human life and thus tries to make life perfect by following the responsibility of human life and thus try to make perfect following the prescribed duties, which means sadhana bhakti. And out of many thousands of such persons who have thus attained success in human life, one may know scientifically about the personality of God and Sri Krishna. In the same Bhagavad Gita, 1855, it is also said that scientific knowledge of Sri Krishna is understood only by the process of devotional service. Bhaktya mama vijanati. Bhakti yoga. The very same thing is confirmed herein in the above word. No ordinary man or even one who has attained success in human life can know scientifically or perfectly the personality of Godhead. Perfection of human life is attained when one can understand that he is not the product of matter but is in fact a spirit. And as soon as one understands that he has nothing to do with matter, he at once ceases his material anchoring and becomes enlivened as a spiritual being, Brahmbhuta. This is the whole definition of how one becomes Brahmbhuta, by being free from the influence of material modes. This attainment of success is possible when one is above the mode of passion and ignorance, or in other words, when one is actually Brahman. Now Prabhupada is coming to the Brahman and Vaishnava. Because when one is in mode of goodness, he is called Brahman by qualification. The Brahman is symbol of Satoguna. And another who is not in the mode of goodness are either Kshatri, Vaishya, Shudra, or less than Shudra. The Brahmanical stage is the highest stage of human life because of its good qualities. So, one cannot be a devotee unless one at least qualify as a Brahman. The devotee is already Brahman by action, but that is not the end of it. As referred to above, such a Brahman has to become a Vaishnava. In fact, to be actually in transcendental stage. A pure Vaishnava is liberated soul and is transcended even to the position of a Brahman. In the material stages, even a Brahman is also a conditioned soul. Because although in a Brahmanical stage, the conception of Brahma or transcendence is realized, scientific knowledge of Supreme Lord is lacking. Brahman is Brahma janati iti Brahman. Brahman is one who knows the Brahma, but he don't know the Bhagavan. So even Brahman is not complete. One has to surpass the Brahmanical stage and reach the Vasudeva stage, or it means Brahman is in mode of goodness. Vasudeva stage is pure goodness without tinge of passion and ignorance. Shuddha Sattva. The science of personality of Godhead is the subject matter for study by the postgraduate student in the spiritual line. The foolish men are men with the poor fund of knowledge, do not understand the Supreme Lord, and they interpret Krishna according to their respective whims. The fact is, however, that one cannot understand the science of the personality of Godhead unless one is freed from the contamination of material modes, even up to the stage of Brahman. When the qualified Brahman actually becomes Vaishnava, in the enlivened stage of liberation, he can know what is actually the personality of Godhead. Chakravartipal writes, by this method, with development of asakti, with the worship of Krishna at every moment, Rati then appears, Prasanna Manasa. Without Rati, there could never be constant detachment from the object of material enjoyment. And without constant detachment, there could never be satisfaction of the mind. Then Prem to Bhagavan appears, Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha. From that arises realization, Vijnanam of the Lord's form, qualities, pastime and powers, and sweetness. The desired result of bhakti has thus been explained. It means Prem. Accompanying results were previously mentioned with gyaan, janate asav vairagyam jnanam chat tadahitakam. They are secondary results. Here also they are mentioned with the phrase appearance of the vairagya mukta sangasya.
Sorry, I missed what was secondary results?
Sorry?
I missed the secondary results.
What are the secondary results of bhakti?
Second result of bhakti is gyaan and vairagya, byproduct or son, the children of bhakti.
Primary is love of God.
Gyaan about Krishna's scientific knowledge of Krishna. There is Sambandha Gyaan.
Okay, so Sambandha Gyaan is primary.
It is a result of bhakti. Bhakti gives rise to that knowledge of sweetness of Krishna.
You said it's secondary.
Secondary in the sense that secondary characteristics make the principle correct as a pure bhakti, then mixed bhakti.
So, but what is primary?
Primary is Krishna Prem.
So, love itself is primary and secondary is Gyana.
So Krishna Prem is accompanied with the sweetness of Krishna and detachment from the material world, environment. Jiva Goswami writes, from the previously mentioned method, one develops a satisfied mind. From performing bhakti in which one is detached from all desires, mukta sangasya, one develops realization of vijnanam of the Lord internally or externally without having to meditate. It means this is a prem. Now verse number 21. Vidyate hridaya grante Chindhyante sarva sankshayah Kshante chasya karmani Drishta evatmani shware. Now there are three results when one reaches to this stage. Hridaya granthi, vidyate hridaya granthi. The knot in the heart is completely cut. What is that knot?
Material desire.
The knot is false ego, ahankar. The hridaya or knot of the heart is false ego, arising from ignorance. False ego arising from ignorance is a knot. Chindyanti sarva sankshaya, all the doubts are destroyed. Doubt about Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan, all these different doubts are completely smashed. Kshanti chasya karmani, it means the all impression of the karma by which one can get the next body are finished. His slate of karma is cleaned. He cannot take new, there's no second birth for him. Atmani Ishware, he can see, actually in Prabhupada, in word to word meaning, he can see the soul as the master of the body. Prabhupada, Atmani Ishware means soul, and Ishwar means master. But actually, in particular, Prabhupada writes, And then a question is how the people see in this world. How you see. Process of seeing is by? By? Eyes?
Normally one sees by eyes, bodily conception.
By light. If you have a sun, then you can see yourself, you can see sun, you can see world, right? So when you see the Ishwar, which is like a sun, then you can see sun, yourself and the world. This is the complete Jeev, Jagat and Jagadish. Three things you can see. Only by seeing Supreme Lord you can see yourself. By sun you can see yourself and world. So you see Krishna, you see soul, so you see material energy. And therefore, which verse do you think Prabhupada should quote in the purport? There is, it's not exactly there, I think, but Krishna is Surya Saman. I don't know. But the Srila Prabhupada here quoting from within Krishna destroy the ignorance. Okay, let's see the Prabhupada's translation. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, cut, and all the misgivings are cut to pieces, doubts. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as the master. Now, ignorance is cut, ignorance is not. And all doubts are destroyed on seeing the Lord in the mind, on seeing the Lord Ishwar in the mind. With the eyes, all the karmas are destroyed. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Attaining scientific knowledge of personality of Godhead, which means Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana, previous verse. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana means seeing one's own self simultaneously. It means see God and see yourself. You can see this? When you have a scientific knowledge of God, then you can see yourself simultaneously. It means you see the sun, you see yourself. In darkness, you can't see. As far as identity of living being is as a spirit self is concerned, there are number of speculation. So these are doubts now. Number of speculation and misgivings. Materialist does not believe in the existence of the spirit self, and empiric philosophers believe in the impersonal feature of the whole spirit without individuality of the living being. But the transcendentalists affirm that the soul and the super soul are two different identities. So these are all the doubts. There is a soul, there is no soul. Soul and super soul are one. They all are impersonal. These are all doubts. But the transcendental affirms that the soul and qualitatively but not quantitatively. There are many other theories, but all these different speculations are at once cleared off as soon as Lord Krishna is realized in truth by the process of bhakti. So we know Krishna, so there is no doubt. We know self and we know the world.
Is this verse then, because we went through all these verses, they were going from Shraddha to now we reached Prema. So then this
That section is over. Now,
yeah.
when one reaches to the prem, then what are the benefits? Then what is the devotee's future?
So this is about when he sees Krishna already.
Yeah. Then he will get these three results. Sri Krishna is like the sun. Can you see this now? Sri Krishna is like the sun. And the materialistic speculations about the absolute truth are like the darkest midnight. As soon as Krishna's sun arises within our heart, darkness of materialistic speculation about absolute truth and living entities at once clear off, which means doubts are dissipated. So Krishna as a sun, Prabhupada is using for the second word, doubts are dissipated. So in the presence of the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truth that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance become clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as the super soul. What is the meaning of this line? Can somebody explain? So as soon as Krishna's sun arises, so this is actually the verse from Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Krishna is Surya Saman Maya hai Andhakar, jahan Krishna ta Maya nahi adhikar. Okay? When there is Krishna, there is no darkness. Now, as soon as Krishna's sun arises within the heart, the darkness of materialistic speculation about the absolute truth and the living beings is at once clear off. Okay. Now, the presence of the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truth, that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance become clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as the super soul. So what are the relative truths which were hidden in the ignorance now become clear when Krishna's sun arises in the heart? Relative truth is material world.
Me and mine.
Huh?
Me and mine.
Whole material realm is a relative truth because it is dependent on the absolute truth. So Bhagavad Gita says, Tesham anukampa, this is the verse. Lord says that in order to show special favor to his pure devotees, he personally eradicated the dense darkness of all misgivings by switching on the light of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, because the personality of God is taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotee, suddenly a devotee engaged in his service, his transcendental love, cannot remain in darkness. He comes to know everything of absolute and the relative truth. What is absolute truth and what is relative truth? Absolute truth is Krishna, and then the two, his energies are relative truth, para and apara, the jeev and prakriti. To make it very clear, crystal clear, is right? Because both are dependent on absolute truth. Relative to one which is dependent on the absolute.
Oh.
So there are only three things: Krishna, his para, and apara Shakti. So para is living entities and apara is material.
Para is also related.
It's relative to Krishna.
Oh.
It is dependent upon Krishna. It's a part and parcel of Krishna.
That's
So he can see. That's the same example I gave. You see sun, you see yourself, you see the world. So the two things depend upon the sun. Without sun, you can't see anything. Okay. The devotee can remember, okay, this we have done this. Now Prabhupada is coming. This is not the case for those who speculate on the absolute truth. It means jnanis. By dint of their limited power of approach. The perfect knowledge is called parampara. A deductive knowledge coming down from the authority to the submissive oral receiver, who is bona fide by service and surrender. So three things needed by the receiver of this knowledge. Number one, sincere hearer. Number two, submissive. Number three, surrender. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme and know him also at the same time. He reserved the right of not being exposed to such an challenging spirit of an insignificant spark of the whole, as a spark subject to the control of illusory energy. The devotees are submissive, and therefore the devotee is submissive, and therefore the transcendental knowledge descend from the personality of Godhead to Brahma, from Brahma to his sons and disciples in succession. This process is helped by this super soul within such devotees. This is the perfect way of learning transcendental knowledge. Evam parampara praptam rajarishana. This is not this one, the other one. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashanena seva. These all verses are paraphrased in this section. The enlightenment perfectly enables the devotee to distinguish spirit from matter, which is like word and jagat and jeev, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. This knot is called, we see on the book, this knot is called, this knot is called, read here, ahankar, right? This knot is called ahankar. And it falsely obliges a living being to become identified with matter. False ego. Ahankar means false ego. As soon as this knot is loosened, therefore all the clouds of doubts are at once cleared off. One sees his master and fully engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Interestingly, Prabhupada, one sees his master, his is in small h. Can you see this? His in a small alphabet, which means he sees his soul. He sees his soul. Is it clear? Can you see this? He sees his soul. You can say. He sees his soul, master of the body, and fully engage himself in transcendental loving service of the Lord, which means activity of the soul. Making a full termination of chain of fruitive actions, karma kshayate. In material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive work and enjoy the good or bad results, effect of those actions, life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain of karma. His actions no longer create any reaction. Chakravarti Pad writes, the knot in the heart, ignorance is cut. This is the reflective verb, okay, which indicates the destruction of ignorance, not the main result. Bhakti. So it's not a main result of bhakti, secondary. Doubts such as thinking that the attainment is impossible or having seen the Lord who is the soul, Atmani, all karmas are destroyed. Or the Lord being in the mind, Atmani, and then being seen directly, all karmas are destroyed. Thus, it stays from here. Padashriya, taking shelter of a devotee. Bhajaneshu isparaha. Satam kripa, how it comes? Comes from Satam kripa, Mahat Sevaya, Shardha, Guru, Hare, Madhurya Anubhava, Iti Arthaha, Shuhu Chaturdashaha. These 14 steps are as follows: mercy of devotee, service to the devotee, faith, surrender to the Guru, desire for worshipping or hearing, bhakti, clearance of the obstacle, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, rati, prem, seeing the Lord and experience the Lord's sweetness. So these are the 14 stages in this section. Now I cannot,
This is what?
Chakravarti, purport of Chakravarti. If you have this to surrender unto me, Bhujan Prabhu has written all the 14 stages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, he has written like that. So, Jiva Goswami writes, Ahankar, Hridaya Granthi, false ego, is destroyed. All doubts about seeing the Lord are destroyed. Can I see Lord in this life? Can I see Lord? So these doubts are destroyed because you see the Lord now. For those who hear about Him and meditate on Him, by hearing thought about the non-action of God are destroyed. By meditation, mistaken thought concerning the Lord are destroyed. However, by direct perception of Lord, thoughts about non-action of Lord and contrary thoughts are both destroyed. Karmas are diminished. A shadow, abhas of karma remain by the will of the Lord. It means it's still because we live, so we have to act, so it's like a shadow. It's not going to bear any fruits in the future. no more birth. Okay, we are going to next section. What is time now?
Half an hour.
Okay, next session. Verse number 20, no, still 22. Ato vaikavyo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeva bhagavati kurvanti atma prasadina. So ato vaikavyo, therefore, the learned, kavya means intelligent, learned, enlightened, nityam bhakti paramaya, they say always perform bhakti jubilantly, muda. Whose bhakti? Vasudeva bhakti, of the Krishna. Kurvanti atma prasadina, by that they say the soul is satisfied, enlivens, okay. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentals, kavyo, have been rendering devotional service to the Lord Krishna, Vasudeva Bhagavati, the person, with great delight, muda, because such devotional service is enlivening to the soul. Last word, prasadanim, prasadanim means mercy. Prasad means mercy, and mercy means divine grace, Krishna Kripa. Thus the wise kavya constantly perform bhakti, nitya bhakti, which give joy to the mind, muda, to Lord Sri Krishna with great joy. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A speciality of devotional service unto the personality of God and Sri Krishna is specifically mentioned herein. A speciality of devotion. What is the speciality? Lord Sri Krishna is the Swayam Roop, Bhagavan. Swayam Roop, personality of Godhead, and all other form of Godhead, beginning from Baladev, Sankarsana, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Narayan, and extending to the Purusha avatar, Guna avatar, Leela avatar, Yuga avatar, and many other thousands of manifestations of personality of Godhead are called Sri Krishna's plenary portions, are integrated parts. The living entities are separated parts. Vishnu Tattva are integrated and Jiva are separated. It's like my neck is my integrated part. My nail is my separated part. It means I can separate the nail, but I cannot separate the neck. You understand what is the difference between the two? So hair is my separated part. You can cut this. Nail you can cut, but you cannot cut neck and you remain alive. So there's a difference. This is the difference between the separated and the integrated. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the original form of Godhead, and He is the last word in the transcendence. Thus, He is more attractive to the higher transcendents who participate in the eternal pastime of Lord. In forms of personality of Godhead other than Sri Krishna and Baladev, Prabhupada writes two, Sri Krishna and Baladev, there is no facility for intimate personal contact as in the transcendental pastime of Lord at Vrajabhumi. So except Krishna and Balaram, you cannot have a direct relation with Krishna in Vrindavan. They both eternally live in Vrindavan. Swayam Prabhu Balaram and Swayam Krishna, they always stay here with his all pure devotees. Why Balaram needs to stay here with Krishna? All paraphernalia which Krishna uses Balaram. Balaram is connected with Krishna in all five rasas. As a Shantras, he is his bed, he is his stick. He becomes everything for him. And as a Dasyaras, he always serves Krishna. As a Sakha, he is a friend. As a Vatsalya, he is the elder brother. And as a Anang Manjari, he is in Madhurya Ras. So Balaram is always in Vrindavan. Balaram serves Krishna in all five rasas. So he is eternally present in Vrindavan in unmanifest Lila now. And he was present when he was in the manifest pastime. So Prabhupada writes both Krishna and Balaram, not others. There is no facility for intimate personal contact as in the transcendental pastime of Lord at Vrjabhumi. The transcendental pastime of Lord Krishna is not newly accepted, as argued by some less intelligent person. His pastime are eternal, are manifested in due course once in day of Brahmaji, as the sun rises in the eastern horizon at the end of the every day, 24 hours. What Prabhupada is writing in this line? As every day the sun arises. So in one day of Brahma, Krishna appears with Balaram and Vrindavan. You know this? Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna appears in one day of Brahma in 7th Manvanta, 28th Chaturyugi, the end of the last portion of the Dwapar Yuga. Krishna regularly appears along with Balaram. So this is in one line Prabhupada has written. Those who don't know can never understand what is this. Can you see if I read this? His pastime are eternal, are manifested in due course, one in day of Brahmaji, as the sun rises on the eastern horizon at the end of the every 24 hours. If you don't know the background, it is not possible to understand. Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Yashodanandan appears in every day of Brahma.
Previously in the purport, it says that Krishna is the last word in transcendence.
It means anything you speak about transcendence, it ultimately ends in Krishna. Nothing beyond that. The last word means whatever spiritual personality you speak of, ultimately they are expansion of Krishna. Either Vishnu Tattva or Jeev Tattva. But they are all coming from Krishna. Okay? Chakravarti Pad said, by saying with great joy, it is indicated that even at the stage of sadhana bhakti, there are no difficulties. Therefore, we must perform bhakti. Even we are sadhana bhakti, there is no problem. We can happily do it because prem bhakti will manifest. And our Jiva Goswami writes, showing the product of devotees, the topic is summarized. Showing the conduct of devotees. What is the conduct of devotees? He will never go in the cycle of birth and death because his doubts and his false ego is finished. Because of awakening of love of God. The topic is summarized. The wise perform bhakti. Kaviyo. Nitya, which purifies mind, Atma Prasadinam, which purifies mind. That is not the only quality of bhakti. It is performed with the greatest joy, Paramaya Muda. The performance of bhakti does not give suffering, either during sadhana or perfection, as in the case of performance of karma. Karma in the beginning give trouble, where you have to spend a lot of money, and in the end also give trouble because you go to heaven and you have to come back. So, bhakti is not like that. Rather, it gives happiness in sadhana and perfection. Thus, the wise perform bhakti at all times, during sadhana and in perfection. Next section, 23 to 29. Krishna in relation to his various expansions. Krishna in relation to his various expansions, which means he is the ultimate world in transcendence. So what are his different expansion and how he is related with them. So verse number 23, 24 and 5 discuss about worship of Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. So 3 guna avatar. So relation of Krishna with 3 guna avatar are the incarnation of modes of material nature. And the whole theme is, among the 3, Vishnu is worshipable because he is eternal. He is beyond the influence of 3 modes. Among the 3, Vishnu is worshipable. So verse number 23. Sattvam rajas tamaiti prakriti gunantai yuktaha para purusha ek iyaya dhatte स्थिति आद्यः हरि व्रंचि हरेति संज्ञाः श्यांसि तत्र खलो सत्त्वः तनो निर्णाम स्युः सत्व तनो निर्णाम स्युः. Sattva tanu means among the three, the body of Vishnu. Tanu means body. Body of Vishnu is of Vishuddha Sattva. So there are three modes of material nature: Rajas, Tama, Sattvam, Rajas, Tama. These are three modes of material nature. Etai yukta para purusha eka, and from Param Purusha eka, from Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, yasi dhate sthiti adya, for the creation, maintenance and destruction, he comes as a Hari Vranchi Hareti. Hari is Vishnu, Vranchi is Brahma, and Hareti is Lord Shiva. Shreyam Tatra Khalu, but the best among the three is Sattva, the one who is overriding Satoguna. And he because why? Because his body is Shuddha Sattva. Is it okay? The verse is clear? Translation. The one Supreme Purusha, Eka, accepting guna of Prakriti known as Sattva, Raja and Tama for creation, maintenance, destruction is called Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. The best result for the devotees will come from Vishnu with Shuddha Sattva body. It's okay? Srila Prabhupada's purport. Lord Sri Krishna, by his plenary parts, should be rendered devotional service as explained above. Is confirmed by this statement that Prabhupada writes that Lord Sri Krishna, that Lord Sri Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, by his plenary parts, it means expansions, should be rendered devotional service. They should also be respected with devotional service because they are Vishnu, some are Vishnu Tattva. As explained above is confirmed by this statement. Lord Sri Krishna, all his plenary parts are Vishnu Tattva, are the Lordship of the Godhead. From Krishna, the next manifestation is Baladev. Okay? Krishna, Baladev, right side. And Baladev, from Baladev is Sankarshan. And from Sankarshan is Narayan. And from Narayan there is a second Sankarshan. You know this all? First Chaturvyu, and then Sankarshan become Narayan and the Vaikuntha, then second Chaturvyu. So second Chaturvyu, from Narayan comes the next Sankarshan. And from Sankarshan, Vishnu Purusha avatar appears, means three Purusha. Karan Dakshaya, Garbho Dakshaya and Karan. So they are from second Sankarshan. Okay? The Vishnu or the deity of quality of goodness in the material world is Purusha avatar, known as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Is it clear? Who is maintaining the material world? Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And he is the expansion of Sankarshan, secondary Sankarshan from Vaikuntha. And this Sankarshan is coming from Narayan. That Narayan is coming from primary Sankarshan. And primary Sankarshan is coming from Balram. And Balram is coming from Krishna. Is it okay? Now, and the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the another name for Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is Paramatma. Now, Brahma is the deity of Rajas. He is the presiding deity of Rajogun. And Shiva, the presiding deity of ignorance, Tam. They are the three departmental head of three qualities of material Guna Avatar. The three are Guna Avatar. The creation is made possible by Brahma's quality of passion and his endeavor It is maintained by the goodness of Vishnu. So, Brahma, by his passion and endeavor, create. Vishnu, by his goodness, maintain. And for requirement, Shiva comes by his Tandav Nritya, dancing. Dancing for annihilation. Materialistic and foolish human beings worship Brahma and Shiva respectively. But the pure transcendents worship the form of goodness, Vishnu, in his various forms. Vishnu is manifested by his millions and billions of integrated forms, means Vishnu Tattva. And separated form means Jiva. The integrated forms are of the Godhead, they are called Godhead. And the separated part, they are called living entities or Jivas. Both Jivas and Godhead have their original spiritual forms. Jiva are sometimes subjected to the control of material energy, but the Vishnu forms are always controller of this energy. When Vishnu, the personal Godhead, appears in material world, he comes to deliver the conditioned soul, conditioned living beings who are under the material energy. Such living beings appear in the material world with intention of being Lord, and thus they become entrapped by the three modes of material nature. As such, the living entities have to change their material covering for undergoing different terms of imprisonment. The prison house of material world is created by Brahma under the instruction of personality of Godhead, and at the conclusion of the kalpa, which means day of Brahma, the whole thing is destroyed by Shiva. But as far as maintenance of the prison house is concerned, it is done by Vishnu, as much as the state prison house is maintained by the state. Anyone, therefore, who wishes to get out the prison house of the material existence, which is full of miseries like repetition of birth and death, disease and old age, must please Lord Vishnu for his liberation. Lord Vishnu is worshipped by devotion and service only. And if anyone has to continue prison life in the material world, he may ask for relative facilities for temporary relief from different demigods like Shiva, Brahma, Indra and Varnan. No demigod, however, can release the imprisoned living entity from conditioned life of material existence. This can be done only by Vishnu. Therefore, ultimate benefit may be derived from Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Is it okay?
The Lord Shiva will be destroyed at the end of the Kalpa. And Lord Shiva destroyed at the end of the Kalpa. So the first section of paragraph is like Tiras Pandava. So Tiras Pandava at the end of the life of Brahma, not every Kalpa.
See, every kalpa there is only destruction of Bhur-Bhur-Swalok. So there is an indentation at that time. Everything, the fire comes from the Anant Shesh and everything boil, and also Shiva may have some role in destruction along with that. But ultimately there are different type of annihilation, 4 type of pralaya, which is the subject matter of 12th canto of Bhagavatam. The Nirodha or annihilation, 4 type of annihilation. This will come in 3rd canto also. Okay? So what is the subject matter we have discussed? Chakravarti Pada has lengthy purport, you can read if you like. Very lengthy purport, quite lengthy. So what we have discussed is simply the 3 Guna Avatar, but the benefit in the Guna Avatar will come from Vishnu, because his body is of Shuddha Sattva. Though there is a one supreme person, when he relate to the Guna, he accepts designation of Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. That means he appears as these 3 persons. Though he accepts these designation among them, the best result, Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha and Bhakti. What are the results which one can get? 4 Purusharth and 5th is Prema Bhakti. Pancham Pursat, right? Arise from Vishnu, the deity in charge of Sattva-tanu. The meaning is this: when Brahma and Shiva are worshipped out of great foolishness by a person with material covering, Dharma, Artha and Kam, which arise from Rajas and Tama, do not give much happiness. The only three things they can give: Dharma, Artha and Kam. They cannot give moksha and bhakti. When these Brahma and Shiva are worshipped by a person without material conception, the person can gain liberation, but not directly and not immediately. By repeatedly searching out and discovering that these forms are answers of Paramatma, liberation arises from Paramatma. Brahma and Shiva do not give best result since they do not reveal directly the form of Paramatma. Worshipping Vishnu with material ideas, Dharma, Artha and Kam gives happiness since Sattva brings about auspiciousness. However, worshipping Vishnu without material desire, Nishkam, without Artha, Kam and Moksha, without Artha, Dharma and Kam, produce liberation since it is said, Sattva sanjayate gyanam, knowledge arises from Sattva. Kaivalyam Satvikam Gyanam, knowledge concerning Jiva apart from body is in Sattva. Skanda Purana also says, Vishnu bind the Jiva with the ropes of material world and liberate the Jiva from the same rope. Eternal Vishnu, the Supreme Brahma, is the giver of liberation. But by completely giving up designation, being without upadhi, the fifth goal, bhakti, appears, since the Lord appears in the form of Paramatma. Thus, all auspicious results are obtained from Vishnu. So, Jiva Goswami has just analyzed what are the results and which is the best result and who can give that. So, Dharma, Artha and Kam can be given by the demigods. Even the Brahma and Shiva indirectly can help some after many lifetimes and bring them to Vishnu. And then only Vishnu can give liberation. Not directly but indirectly. They can help indirectly by referring them to Vishnu after some time when they see that he has no material desire. There are verses in the Ashra. They for so many lives, if you worship Shiva, then you will get the worship of Vishnu. Something like there are something like that. Or verse number 24. The analogy given to explain the best benefit from Vishnu as compared to Shiva and Brahma. Analogy, this verse is analogy. Parthiva daruno dhumas tamas tasmad agnehi trayamaya tamasto rajas tasmad Sattvam yad brahma darshanam. Now, what is actually wood? It is nothing but the transformation of earth. So if you have wood, you have nothing. You don't think of anything from wood about. But if there is a fumes, it means wood is burning. It means that you can perform yajna now. It means now your religious activity starts. Similarly, when somebody is in tamogun, it's like a wood, which is like a earth. But when somebody is in rajogun, it's like smoke. But when really it is fire, you perform yajna, then you please Vishnu. So when there is a fire, which means Vishnu, or Sattva, and it includes all three. From where fire came? From wood. So this is the three things here. Now Srila Prabhupada's translation. Fire, wood, Daruna. See? Daruna, okay? Daruna. It's transformation of earth, Parthiva. But smoke is better than the raw wood. Dhum. And fire is still better, Agni. For the fire, we can derive the benefit of superior knowledge. How? Through Vedic sacrifice. How sacrifice gives knowledge? Fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There are some 12, 14 sacrifices called yajna, different yajna, gyaan yajna, adhyan yajna, swadhyaya yajna, pranayam yajna, gyaan yajna, and then the verse ends. All these yajna ultimately culminate in knowledge. You know this? Fourth chapter, you know these verses? And then it says that knowledge can be obtained only from a bona fide spiritual master. And when you get that knowledge, then it's like all samidho agni bhasam sati. With that knowledge, you can burn like the heap of wood by one simple majestic. That knowledge is so powerful. And tarashyasi, that knowledge is a boat, you can cross the multiple. This is the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I am paraphrasing. Can you recall this?
Yes.
Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, Brahmahurtam, Brahmagno, Brahma, this is all Brahm, and then the different type of yajna, and then ultimately all yajna ends into the knowledge. Right?
Yes.
So when you see this thing, your previous knowledge will help you to understand. Can you see this? Can you see this by study how your previous knowledge helped you? Now I am reading again. Through Vedic sacrifice, superior knowledge is obtained. How? Because all sacrifice end in culminated knowledge. Find out that verse exactly. It must be 4, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It must be somewhere 30.
Knowledge.
30, no? Devam apare yagnam yogina paripaste brahmagnyo apare yagnam yagnano upajuvadina after this 24. Go to the up till 30, I think.
29.
Next one. Go to the 30 after 30.
Before this.
Sarve api ete yagna vido yagna kshipta kalmashaha yagna shishtamart vijo yanti brahmasanat. Next.
32.
After this. Evam baho vidha yagnaha vitata brahmano mukhe karam jan viditan sarvan. What is the last word?
Evam gyatva vimokshate.
Evam gyatva vimokshate. Okay. Translation? Go up. Translation? What is translation?
All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated.
Next. Shreyam drevamya yagya gyana yagna parantapa sarvam karma akilam partha gyane pari. This is the verse. Sarva karma akilam gyane pari samapyate. Now, see the, what is the word? Verse number 32? 33. Before Tadvidi Pranipatena, right? See, all the work leads to sacrifice. So all work leads to ultimately gyaan. Is there gyaan? Now this line is very clear in your mind what is written, Prabhupada is written. Yes?
Can you show the verse?
Huh? Verse number 33, right? 433. Gyane parisamapyate. Gyane parisamapyate. Sarvam karam akilam paratha. Arjun, all the work of sacrifice ultimately culminate in knowledge. See the translate, culminate in knowledge. See the translation? See this. Culminate and translate knowledge. All sacrifice work culminate in knowledge. Is it okay? Similarly, patience is better than ignorance. So patience is like a wood, and ignorance is like a smoke. But goodness, sattva, is better, it's like fire. Because goodness, one can realize the absolute truth. Fire, you can perform yajna and also realize Brahma. Transcendental knowledge. Can you see the analogy now? Wood, tam. Smoke, rajas. And fire, sattva. Okay, Srila Prabhupada's purport. As explained above, one can get release from the conditioned life of material existence by devotional service to personal life Godhead. It is further comprehended here and that one has to rise to the platform mode of goodness, so that one can be eligible for the devotional service of the Lord. But the Prabhupada said, I am establishing ISKCON to bring people to mode of goodness. Because after goodness, you can practice devotional service. Is it okay? But if there is an impediment on the progressive path, anyone, even from the platform Tamak, can gradually rise to the Sattva platform by expert direction of a spiritual master. Since candidate must therefore approach an expert spiritual master for such a progressive march, and bona fide expert spiritual master is competent to direct a disciple from any stage of life, Tama, Raja or Sattva. This is what Prabhupada got all the people mostly in a Tama and Raja. But he guided them to the Sattva. It is a mistake therefore to consider that worship of any quality or any form of the Supreme Personal Godhead is equally beneficial. Except Vishnu, all forms are separated. Separated means Jiva Tattva. Except Vishnu, all are Jiva Tattva. Being manifested under the condition of material energy, which means conditioned soul. And therefore, this form of material energy cannot help anyone rise to the platform of Sattva, which alone can liberate the person from material bondage. The uncivilized state of life, or the life of lower animal, is controlled by the mode of tamas. The civilized life of man, with a passion for various type of material benefit, is the stage of rajas. Human is in rajogun generally. Any verse? Urdhva gachanti sattvastha madhyatishtanti rajasa. So demigods are in satogun, human are in rajogun. Adho gachanti tamasa means lower animals. The rajas stage of life gives a slight clue to the realization of absolute truth in the form of fine sentiments in philosophy, art and culture with moral and ethical principle. But the mode of sattva is still higher stage of material quality. So in Rajogun, people are more, fine sentiments like brotherhood, like friendship. These are fine sentiments. And philosophy, different philosophies. Art, different artistic. Culture, moral and ethical principle. This is only human life. In Rajogun, this is something is better than animal life. There's education, everything. But Sattva is high. What is that? To realize the absolute truth between the different kinds of worshipping method, as well as respective results derived from the predominant deities. Namely, so earlier we have discussed among all the process of realizing absolute truth, bhakti is the best. Now we discuss among all the presiding deities of the material world, Vishnu is the best. So this is something like that. So Chakravarti Pad writes, superior to Sumukha. Huh? What is your question? Screen.
Here, the fine sentiments. The rajas stage of life gives a slight clue to the realization of the absolute truth in the form of fine sentiments in philosophy. So when you say clues and fine sentiments means family relationship. But here it said that the realization of absolute truth in the forms of fine sentiments in philosophy.
Not absolute truth. It doesn't say absolute truth.
This realization of absolute truth in the form of fine sentiments in philosophy.
The type of material benefits the rajas stage of gives a slight clue to realization. It means now I have a relation. I have my son. I have my friend. I have my wife. So this is a shadow, a reflection of the absolute truth, which in reality there is a dasya ras, sakya ras, and vatsalya ras. So this relation of this world is a perverted reflection of the pure relation in the spiritual world. So this is at the Rajogun, they are influenced by lust. In the real state, they are love. So the same thing is there, but this is a perverted reflection.
So is it like in the stages of consciousness, like Brahma stage, it's when we realize others and understand others?
See, they are ultimately everything is absolute truth. Ultimately everything is absolute truth. These are all related to depending upon the absolute truth. So this is a Prabhupada writes slight clue. It means there are relations with Supreme, which is a perverted in this world. There are relations. So a spiritual, the material world is a reflection of a spiritual world.
So like this, like some person is performing karma kanda and they say like if I...
No, karma kanda is a different thing. Karma kanda is not speaking karma kanda. Prabhupada is speaking about finer relationship, philosophy, art. We make some art of loving boy and girl. It means there is a real love of Radha and Krishna. So this type of art, this is all some perverted reflection of the something. There is something higher that can only be understood when we go to the higher mood. Is it okay?
Prabhu, this devotional service we're talking about here is pure devotional service, right? You know,
Your devotional service, yes?
otherwise, everyone can do devotional service, isn't it?
Oh, Jiva Goswami has a very, very, very lengthy purport for this, almost 5-6 pages purport for this. If you have this with you, please read. There's a lot more things about this analogy and how Shiva and Brahma, they were not there when Vishnu was there. So there's a lot much different quotation from Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Very lengthy purport. And then this something like that. If you worship this, then you also come to this level. You worship this, you come to this level. This is for your some food for soul. If you want, you can relish it. I think our time is over, but if we finish the 25th verse, then this section will be over. And tomorrow we'll finish this chapter and start the next chapter. Okay? Bhejare munayo athagare Bhagavantam adhaukshajam Satam Satvam Vishuddham Kshemaya Kalpante ye anotan iha. Bhejare means rendering service and Munya means great sages. Atha agre means in the previously, in our earlier time. Bhagavantam adhokshajam means a Supreme Lord who is beyond the senses. Satvam Vishuddham, that which is a Bhagavan Lord Vishnu, who is in a pure goodness. Kshemaya kalpada, they get the ultimate benefit from that, not anything else. So, previously all the great sages render service unto the person of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worship him to become free from material condition and thus drive the ultimate benefit, Kshemaya. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from material world. So Srila Prabhupada's purport is follow the Mahajan. And there are 12 Mahajan. And Dharma is given by Supreme Lord. That is the Prabhupada's theme of the purport. So purpose of performing religious is neither to profit by material gain or nor to get the simple knowledge of discerning matter from spirit. So what actually it means is religion is not for karmis and gyanis. The real purpose of dharma is not karma and gyana. Can you see this? Material benefit is karma, and the simple knowledge of different things, this is gyana. But the ultimate aim of religion, religious performance, to realize oneself from the material bondage, release oneself from material bondage, and regain the life of freedom in the transcendental world where the personality of God is the supreme person. So, bhakti is the only way by which we can realize the Supreme Lord and enter into His service. Law of religion, therefore, are directly enacted by the personality of Godhead. Dharma tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. This is from 6th canto Bhagavatam. And the expert or the Mahajan or the authorized agents of the Lord, no one knows the purpose of Dharma. There are 12 particular agents. Kapilo, what is that? Bhishmo, Narado. So 12 Mahajans, they know and we have to follow them. Mahajan yena gatasa pantha. Because the body of Vishnu is beyond Maya, one cannot say that Vishuddha Sattva means the Vidya arising from Maya Shakti. No. Person who follow after Anu, the sages are qualified for liberation, Chemai, in this world. So here we end today's talk. Tomorrow we will continue. This verse gives proof of proper conduct in bhakti to the Lord. Worship of Devta is rejected. The Lord has a form which is Vishuddha Sattva, beyond material Sattva. This is explained in Bhagavad Sandarbha. Now we have verse number 26:7, worship other Devtas, and then we will end this chapter tomorrow by little glimpse of Purusha Avatar. Little glimpse of Purusha Avatar. The last part is Purusha Avatar, and the beginning of 3rd chapter is also Purusha Avatar. Then 10:22, Leela Avatar. So that is question number 3 is answered in the next section. From 30 to 33, Purusha Avatar for creation. And question 4 will be explained tomorrow also, and 22 Leela Avatar. It's okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu,
Haribol, yes.
can I ask a question?
Welcome. Well, say what you want to say.
So, when we have children very young,